Hello. Drawing today. Yay. Fun time. I'm actually wondering what I should draw. How are you guys doing? All good? I hope so. Because if you're here and you're not good, then clearly something wrong, right? I know I said last time I would do Mortal Shell, but I have been inspired to draw something. So I'm hoping I can draw something decent today. Let's see. If you have any ideas, just put it in right now. I'm just setting up the rest of the stream. Okay, cool. Everything's set up nicely. And yeah. Actually, I have a funny thing that happened today. So, you see, I was just getting up from my table, and my table decided to commit seppuku. It's as it sounds. That's exactly what it did. So now, like, it just dropped half the table. It's one of these little ones, but I'm lucky that the glass didn't break, because that would have been bad. Yeah, I got a bit lucky with that one, but still, the table just decided, nope, don't want to live anymore. So, I am now tableless, and I'm doing this on the floor on my tablet. Amazing, right? Right, let's try some... I kind of want to draw a person, but I don't want to draw a person because I'm terrible at it, right? So I'm thinking, landscapes I'm also terrible at. I'm terrible at most things. So I'm gonna just draw, and we will see what happens. I think, you know what I want to try? I'm gonna get an image up for it. Give me 2 seconds. Let's see, what can we draw? Ah, that's perfect. Since I'm not amazing at drawing, I think this will help me quite a lot. So I'm gonna have this here. This will be like the reference image that we'll be using to get what we want. Man, I remember all of these, that was so good. The hot rod chomper right in the top middle, the fire and the regular to the left of that. Which one I also used a lot? I used the frost one, I think this one here, a lot. And I believe I also had, there was one other one I had. I think it was just this purple one here. They were all amazing with their little skills that they had. But yeah, we're gonna put that at like 40% or something. Don't need it full. We're gonna go to our first layer again. Go to black and let's just start drawing. I'm gonna hide it for now. Let's just start. We've talked enough. Let's get this going. Now how should I do it? Okay, let's start with a bit of a ground to the place, right? There we go. Nice and simple. Get a bit of a weed going here as well. Some right here. Why not? And we're gonna use, this will be kind of like the base of the plant, right? Which I'll actually make much bigger. Let's go for something of like this size. I think that's a good size too. I shouldn't fit it in though. Let's do that. What am I doing? It should be really flat. Nah, you're not good enough. So that'll be kind of like the base of it. Now you'll see if we have it up, it kind of just goes like this, right? Which I love. There we go. I'm not gonna be, completely copying this, but I will be trying to do something with it, I'm gonna make my own version of the chomper. Let's do that. There we go. Something like that, maybe. They have this lip to them. There we go. We have these stripes. There we are. This is only a quick little thing, but I think it'll look good. Let's see, how do they do? How does the head look? We could do like a xenomorph. That could work, Little xenomorph one. No, we're not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna do something else. It's not gonna be the standard kind of chompy boy. He doesn't really have eyes, does he? No.
Que como un trofeo quieres tenerme, pero I don't need no one. Que yo ya sé que de ti I got to stay away, got to stay away. No, baby, no setbacks.
think this part is what's making it look good. I need to make it go more upwards of sorts. Looks like teeth almost, but that's not what we're going for here. So tongue is of course going to be hanging out, as you do. Actually, I probably don't want that line there. There we go. It's more like it. Shorten this line a little bit. Make it better. Something like that. Has these like little horns in the backs there. I don't know why, but it does. And to make it look a little better, I think I'll have to not do that. To take this down there. And that way, we can make it look more like it's looking towards us. Something like that. I don't know, man. It's weird. Does he have teeth? I think he does, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, he does. Same at the top. Got huge teeth. Small ones in the back there. There you go. Maybe I should draw something from the Inktober thing, because I have like I have an Inktober what's it called? A little sheet. And well, it's not October now, but it was a little October drawing contest of sorts. Yeah, just like for people that draw a lot, to try drawing some of the things that are there. Every day one drawing. It was a pretty cool little thing. I'm not good at throwing too much, but I mean, I think I'm decent. It's really weird drawing, because the angles are not what you would expect usually. Which is why you sometimes just have to go with it, you know? It just kind of happens. That's not right. I think he usually has like 3 of them. Now he has 4. Okay, interesting. Thing is, his feet are not really that pointy, so I shouldn't be making them like that pointy. But yeah, I think that looks fine-ish, not really. I also started playing some Magicka, it was on sale on Steam recently, so that's why I bought it. And I thought it looked interesting. I had a friend show me a little bit, and it's got quite a bit of humor to it. And I always love a good game with some humor. So it's always nice to see that. It's hard to make these like similar thickness as well. These leaves. But you know what? It's coming along. I don't know, that doesn't look fine. Going too much to the right. I need to need to just do this, that's it. Literally just that. And then maybe a little, like... I don't know, man. That's a bit of a weird angle to be doing, honestly. Actually, no, I think just leaving it like that is probably fine. Oh, there we go, like something like that. I know what I need to do. I need to make this a little more outwards, do it like that. And then just there. Perfect, good enough. Okay, well that kind of works. Just darken this bit here. Just because no one needs to know what's under there. No one looks under a thing. There's things you don't need to see. I know this looks dumb. The ground for it really doesn't work. This is something I've tried drawing before, but it never worked out. Which is why I'm trying it again. Because never give up and all. So, you know. I'm trying it again and it's decent, I guess. Yeah, it looks okay. Okay. The head looks terrible. I can never do a head. I can never draw one. I don't really know what I should do here. Okay, well, let's pick something from Inktober. Let me open from file one of my Inktober things. Or actually, let's do some of this. I think this is a little fun exercise to learn some facial expressions and stuff like that. So, why is my thing there? Right, I had this thing, which I guess looked okay. Yeah, I mean, I also had this. Right, let's go for a little bit of what's this? That's not it. Where is this from? There's no thing that suggests that there should be my icon there. Interesting. So let's do... Okay, let's do it a bit in order. We can do little, like, if we really want to, we can do little cute faces like that. That doesn't look right. Okay, let's do, I mean... angry. How should we do this? Let's do a little bit of a... Let's do a cat. Because cats are notoriously angry. That looks like a very happy cat. Actually, that looks like one of those Shiba Inus. Which I still find that name quite interesting. Look at that chin. Let's do... You know, let's do cat faces for now. Because faces in general, I am beyond terrible at doing. The classic. Yeah. I guess when cats are angry though, they would have like, the ears wouldn't go this way, they would be flat, right? If I'm not mistaken. Sure. Very, very upset cat right here. Chunk. There you go. Very, very angry cat. Very, very big-headed, upset cat. Right there. There you go. I will destroy you. Let's go to confused. I think we should do this one, so it'll be someone with certain something here. Certain glasses, which will have a little spiral on them. Because spirals, as you know, probably from various webcomics or anything like that, you'll know that spirals tend to be a sign of confusion. Which is why we would use it for something like this. There you go. Give him that. I hit the mustache. No, let's not do that. There you go. Very confused guy. I'm surprised how well I drew this head, you know? It doesn't ever come out this well. Like, actually ever. Like, never ever. And they have a pretty interesting hairstyle, which doesn't make the most sense, but it's there. Because it's their hairstyle. There we go, a little better. And that's like a shape, of course. I don't know. Very, very confused. Bit pleased. Let's go for a little bat. Let's go for something different. We're gonna have a stick, right? This is the stick. Okay, we have the stick. Gotta put a little leaf on there, as is tradition. Maybe two. And we're gonna have our little friend. We're gonna be holding him like this. And guess the animal while I draw it. I doubt it's gonna look like it, like the animal, but you can still try guessing it. I very highly doubt it's gonna look like the actual thing. Because I have no reference image for this, and I've never really seen one. I have a pretty round body like that. A little head on top. And now you may be thinking this is an owl, but why would an owl be upside down? And yes, it does look like an owl. It's not just you. Might be seeing it a bit better now. Again, I've never really seen one, but this is what I gathered it looks like, so yeah. Good luck. That's a little bit of shading, although it's very minor, it's still there. And it definitely adds to it. Yeah, this is a bat, if you haven't noticed that yet. Oh, little bat friend. I think I drew it pretty decently. Don't know about you, but it looks pretty decent to me. Add a little texturing to that wood. There we go. Now you're asking probably, how is this guy pleased? Well, I'm happy to inform you that he's gonna be having a dream because I forgot about that part. I dream of being very happy. No. Not being pleased. No. He's gonna be dreaming of a big old chunk of meat. Like, you know those ones you see in the little like Tom and Jerry skits and stuff like that? Yeah, this is it. This is that meat. And it looks delicious, as always. Now let's continue our music because it got lost.
Just in little moments, it was easy just feeling alive. 2 a.m. wide awake, talking like we had the whole night. And I don't know if I said this right. No, I don't know how the days gone by. Missing little moments, it was easy just feeling alive. Every now and again, I trace my steps back to then. Oh, I want that feeling.
I think this is kind of like the ears that those bats have. I don't know. Who knows? I don't. That's for sure. Yeah. Let's make this guy buff. Because I'm very good at making the guys look buff.
You were late nights 'cause nobody seems to make the time. And I don't know how to do this right. No, I don't know how the years gone by. Searching for the moments I'm a little less 25. Every now and again, I trace my steps back to then.
There you go.
Oh,
Buff. He kind of looks like some kind of engineered character in a game. I don't know. And yes, of course he's naked. Let's go to tired. Oh, that's a bit of a difficult one. I know this is supposed to be faces, but I've gone further into it for no reason. You know what? Once again, screw the faces. I'm not doing faces anymore. I saw this little video where there's a guy that does a bit of like teaching art, right? Art school, that's what he calls it. You may have known of him, but he releases a lot of videos where they're just little courses that are like what you should begin with, what you should get into doing before you start drawing like the complex things out of just imagination, right? And one of those things is just drawing any shape you can think of. Just drawing a few squares, a few cylinders, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? And from that, you can then later take that cube and carve out a little bit out of it, right? So you can grab like this part here, and it will go to here. It would come to here, go all the way to here, and these lines, this line here and this line here should be parallel. Same as this line should be parallel with this line, which that's how a cube works. And now if we shaded this part in, perfectly just like that, it's not at all perfect, don't worry about it. And then we just half shade this one. Now the thing is, I've done it wrong, because right now it doesn't look like it was caved in, right? This looks more like not that. So let's get rid of these lines, right? And now you see that this comes out to be a bit of a hexagon. Let's just fix it up just a little bit. Now you'll see that you probably want a line going down to around there, like just in the middle there. And the lines should all connect from those parts in the middle. That should be where they connect. And now it looks good, doesn't it? Now it looks much better. And now we can shade in this with just like a very dark shading. And we can shade this one a little lighter. Like that. And then you can see that it, well, it's a bit of an illusion, but you can see that it goes inwards a little bit, and that's the basis of this. And then we can make this into a better shape. We can use a line tool for the best shape. Should have used it from the beginning, but that's okay, because freehanding is also very useful. It's a useful skill, so it's not bad to do it without freehanding, but it's not necessarily something you want to always do, right? As long as it gets you to the end image, then it's cool, right? But it's always good to learn a few different skills as you draw. But yeah, there's our little cube that you can see goes a little bit on the inside there. And you can also shade this part in. And shade this one in. And this all abides by what we have in that middle cube, the extra cube. So this one should be a bit lighter, whereas the other one should be a bit darker. go over it again, just in case we want to make it a little bit darker, so it definitely separates from the other one. And what I'm doing right now, you don't really want to be doing ever, where it's like, you see how it's like kind of patchy in these spots? You don't really want that very much, but that's what you get. And yeah, that's a little thing you can do. You can then, let's say we want to make a cylinder. Let's make a cylinder here to fit into this little area here. That's gonna be our cylinder. Now, I could just do it sideways like that, and yeah, that's cool, but if you see how it's positioned, it would actually be going backwards a little bit. So this would actually go somewhere like that. Not really like that, but you see that this top shape should be fairly similar, and it wouldn't be parallel. These two lines should not be parallel, because this side should be larger, since this is the like closer to the camera, right? And then we run into the whole thing of like you can shade it this way, but let's cut it a little bit. So let's take off, let's say, a chunk like this. Yep, and then this is something you can do as a little bit of practice. Now you'll see that this line here will have to continue over and go downwards like that to fit with the rest of the shape, right? And of course that will be shaded darker because that's the angle, and it's also in there. But you'll also want this because that's what it is. And there you go. A little bit of a cut shape there. Now what else could we add to that? Let's make a sphere, which we'll make afterwards into a quarter sphere. Now I'm gonna just use a tool. Nah, it doesn't look that good if I do that. Now let's put the sphere. Just, you know, let's move some things here. Move these up a little bit. Move them right up there. And I'll actually also get this guy right here. And we'll move him up there. So we got those shapes. No, down here actually. Better. Now we're gonna do that sphere, which is rather difficult. I mean, circles in general are quite difficult to draw, but you know, with a bit of practice you'll get used to it. You'll start drawing better circles over time. You might want to go over it a few times just to make it a little bit more polished, and you'll get something fairly spherical. Now, this is mostly from what the what's his name from the art school said, but I'm telling you this because I think it's really good information, and for anyone starting out, this is something you can get into if you want to begin with art. I'm not saying I'm an expert at art, but this is information coming from an expert, so although it's secondhand, it's something that is definitely worth saying. Now, you'll see that the sphere will probably want something of... how do we shade a sphere? Well, if I were to bring up an image here, let me just type it in. I don't have a table now, so it's a bit awkward. Well, yeah, if we get this image here, it's very, like, it looks very simple, but it is sometimes it can be quite difficult. There it is. So you'll see that for a sphere, I mean, depending on where you want the light coming from, let's say the light is... Let's say the light is just coming from over here and it would bounce right there. So what we'll be working with is keeping this part as light as possible and going darker, right? So we'll start out on the outside, and I'll actually use a tool for this because it's a little awkward at times if you don't use a tool. But it should mostly look like this. I've gone a bit too dark on the right side, but that's fine. And for the most part, when you're shading shapes, you don't really want to use black for shading, because it really does take out the color out of it. So when you're shading something like something that's orange, let's say, right? If you're shading something like that's orange, normally you might use just like a darker orange or something, right? But instead of using a dark orange, why not go into a red, or even if you really want to make it dark, go into a little bit of a purple? Because red is naturally just darker than orange, right? And you can then go into, if you want to make it lighter, why not use a little bit of yellow, you know? A little bit of yellow in there to lighten it up. I wouldn't say green would be a good idea, but I guess it's a possibility. But just to use some of the colors around that color you have. So for example, if I take this away and I used a orange, well, I would actually begin with yellow for this one. I would do this wherever I'll do that for now. I would go into a little bit of an orange if I want to make it darker, because that adds a little bit to it. And once I'm happy with that, go into a bit of a red around the outside. Now, you don't want to make it too much of a change, right? Because too much is not always good, right? I mean, too much is too much. But yeah, even here you can kind of go into a bit of a green lime, but we probably want to keep it more white to keep that shine, you know? So we can lighten it up a little white. And I wouldn't say using white is also good, because if you use a bit of white, it'll make it look really pale, and you don't want that. You want to keep it vibrant, you want to keep it eye-catching. So using a bit of white is also not very good. Black, however, is a bit better because it makes things... Well, I suppose both black and white could be used in the same way to make things stand out a bit more. Like if I were to add to this, like a bit of a bit there, right? I can make it really stand out as a circle if I do that. So that does help, but it's more the shading when I'm doing like this what's it called, airbrush tool, for example. You don't really want to make it use that. You want, if you're using it, you want to make it strong and not just a little bit of weak bit of white around it. So it's yeah, because it just really makes it look pale. Like you see that just looks too pale. But let's take that circle and let's try cut a little bit out of it. Or actually, before we do that, I just want to go back to the cylinder we have, and the cylinder we can shade a little bit because I forgot to shade it. Let's make it blue, sure, why not? Let's start off with a lighter color. Usually you want to go from a lighter color to a darker color. You don't want to go the opposite way because it sometimes does end up looking a bit weird. And you see how I've got, you know, a solid blue color there. It's cool, but what if I add a little bit of purple, right? It makes it much darker at the bottom, doesn't it? And you can make that just a little darker or so. Not too dark, but just a little bit darker. And same for this, I can make it a little bit of cyan right on top. And it makes it stand out more pop, you know? So it's always good. And since we're on the topic of coloring things in, why not color in this cube a little bit as well? So let's make it just a bit of green. Sure, green. We can do that, add a little bit of cyan to this side, since this side's a little bright. No, actually, the other side is a little brighter. Don't mind me. But yeah, just a little bit. It doesn't need to be that strong, you know. It just needs to be a little bit of that, and then we can go into not a yellow. See, this is where green. You don't want to make it yellow for a darker color because yellow is a very bright color, isn't it? So with green, you more want to go to either maybe like a dark blue, but with green, I would honestly stick with just a darker version of green, like just a dark green. Nothing special, you know. Just like that. So it's very nice then. But yeah, something like that, you know. It looks fine. But now let's cut the sphere. So since the sphere is spherical, we will cut it down the middle. It will be cut in this sort of way here. What am I doing? Am I on the wrong layer? No. Why can I not? Oh, right. This is selected. Okay. So for this, what I would do is I would cut it more this way. You wouldn't just cut it down the middle, because that's how you would take off like this whole chunk here, right? But that's not what we want. That's not the way to do it. We want it to be cut towards us, of sorts. So it would look more like this. Now, of course, this isn't perfect. It's not good at all, actually. You want to end it somewhere around the middle, so somewhere around there, and then you take it around. And we can even take it, like, cut it off a bit early if we want, but I'm gonna stick to just, yeah, you know, cut it off early. And then from here you would go into about the middle point of the sphere, which is not there. It would be right there. And up to the top, because we've cut up that part of it, right? And then you can see that that is what we have now. So, yeah. That's how that goes. I'm not gonna bother coloring that more than it is because it's already fine, really. It's nothing much we could do to it. We could spend a while doing like little bits of shading here and there, but overall, I'd say I'm gonna leave it because this is not, 100% needed. So I'm gonna just leave it. I say as I'm continuing. Anyways, yeah, doesn't matter. So we'll just keep it at that. That's cool. I'm gonna just fix it up with a little bit of black lining, but straight lines, because I like straight lines. There you go, much better. This line can get a bit more round. Anyways, that is cool. That's fine. Perfect. That's all we needed. It's a little more cut up and good. Now we'll go into what's another shape that's used. Now let's take a rectangle, right? A cuboid, and let's give it a little twist. Let's give it a little twist. So, what we're gonna do, actually, we'll put it in this next area here. We don't need this anymore. Let's bin that. So we're gonna take this, and we're gonna start it off with just a regular ass square. So there's our square, right? Now, this is something I have not done yet, and which is why I'm doing it now. So I want to finish it by, let's straighten it out into a little square right here. That is not what I want. Let's just make a little one. Let's actually, let's just make it finish like that. No, not like that. Okay, let's go and do a bit of this. Let's actually move it. Oh, let's highlight it so I don't move everything. And let's try it. So you'll see that this is gonna be this corner here. And then, from that, we're gonna have this one follow that, but it's gonna end a bit earlier. Actually, no, this one would end a little later, and this is going towards us. Wait, no, this is wrong. Well, at least I bent it a little bit, I guess. You know, at least there's that. Okay, well, it's a little bent, so therefore it is still mission accomplished, right? It's just not what we wanted exactly. I wanted to twist it around a little more than it is right now. But I mean, that's okay. As long as we get some kind of shape that's not a perfect cube or cuboid or whatever you want to have it be. Now, the next part of this, very important, would be giving it a little bit of shading, because the shading is what will make it happen. So let's do this, and actually let's do this one, and I'll take the brush. I'll color it with black this time, and what it'll be is here, like this, and just like that, right? And then with this other one, other side, it would be quite similar. We'll probably just do it something like this. As much to this one. And then this top part is gonna be completely black because maybe not that black. Okay, very black. Because you see that the floor is the light source basically. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's next make a cylinder, but this time it's gonna be like a horseshoe cylinder basically. And we'll do something extra for this one. We're gonna make it go from here to here, going around. So let's see how we do. So I'm gonna start it by taking this brush and making a circle here. That's not a circle. There we are. And we're gonna finish it by having a circle here. And this is gonna go down that way. So let's try this. Let's give this a shot. This is definitely something that is good to practice. Yeah, so that looks fine-ish. Let's add a little bit to it by cutting out a little bit of it, because you can never make it too hard for yourself, but just don't make it too hard for yourself. No, but it's always good to challenge yourself with things, right? Let's actually change that line just a little bit. Because it goes a bit too high. There we go. And you'll see that this needs to now go to here. And this will connect to there. Have that kind of split there. And by doing that, we've made a little bit of a incision into this cylinder of sorts, whatever you want to call it, this shape. And just messing about with shapes like these is really helpful for later use, because let's be honest, a lot of creation of like characters and the first steps, you might not see them in the big drawings, but the final designs, but they are definitely there, these shapes, right? When you're drawing a regular ass character, whatever character you want, it turns out that, oh look, a lot of it's using little cylinders or little thing here and there, right? Little squares here. A lot of that comes in with the sort of prep work, I guess you could say, for the final design. So having this is very nice, being able to draw these various shapes, and later on getting into, of course, more complex shapes. But this is what you would begin with. So yeah, we have a little bit of an incision there as well, because I wanted to. And let's give it a bit of shading maybe. Because after making a shape like this, I mean, you have to know how to shade it, right? So let's see. Let's begin with the lighting still being the floor, as we have here. So since the floor is the lighting, this part down here will be brighter and the top will be darker, of course. So we'll show that first by using this tool I like to use, and using black. Actually, we're not going to use black because black is not a good practice to use, in my opinion. Because, like I said, it makes things look a bit... how do I put it? It just doesn't make it look as good. Like, white also makes it look more pale, but, yeah. Here and there, you'll definitely be fine using it, but just to not use it too much. Now, we're gonna go with a little bit of red. And that kind of... that's not good at all. Come on. Right, we're gonna... see. I'm making my own, like, the mistake I was talking about earlier. Because you want to start with something lighter and finish off with something darker, right? So we'll start with a nice yellow into orange, make it the red that we want it, and then delve a little bit into like a deep purple, because that looks nice. But when you're putting on this purple color, to just darken it just a little bit, instead of using that black, of course, do I put it? It'll just make it yikes, what's the words? I can't think right now. Yeah, just to not make it overwhelmingly strong, right? Because if you make it too strong, it'll be as if, oh, that part of the clothing is now purple. It's not red anymore because you've got too much of it. So you just have to be careful with that. And it also looks quite like a sunset, doesn't it? Looks very nice. You got the sky, you got the sun right at the bottom there. And that's what we want, because that is what we're doing. That's light source. So yeah. And with that kind of shading, like I did here a little bit, you can kind of put in a bit of texturing with the way you place the shadows. The angles you use, the directional strokes, right? So yeah, that's also something to always look out for when shading. But let's move on to this part here. This is still going to be the same color. So let's try to keep this same color palette, right? Now we have it here on the side if we need it. And we're going to begin with that nice yellow. Nice yellow to just begin with. Let's not put too much at the bottom. There we are. And again, directional strokes. We go into that orange that we have here. Make it look like it's very nicely tanned. And then into that red that we want to use here. We want to keep. And still keep an eye on what this side looks like, this end bit. While we go into that purple, which ends up looking something like that. And yeah, that now looks like a nice, almost sunset color. So yeah, always nice to have this here. Now we'll carry over to the other side, and last we'll do these where the incisions were. Now I like to use this automatic, like, what's it called? What's the tool called? Contiguous selection tool. Don't think I've ever heard that word, but that is what the tool is called, so therefore that is what I'm using. I wouldn't recommend using it on Krita at least, because as you can see, it has pixels that it leaves behind as white, which is not ideal for when you want to make it look nice, because, well, it just doesn't look very nice, right? So I would recommend either refrain from using that, because you'll have to go back to fill those gaps in, or on the other hand, you could do something that would take a bit longer, but you could do manual little what's it called, boxes. You could do the selection manually, and that could also help to just to get it right? So you don't have to do that adjusting or anything. But again, let's go down the chain of colors. This might not be the most efficient way, I have no idea if it is, but this is how I do it because it works well for me. And as you can see, it all looks quite nice. Now we'll go back to our yellow, we'll do the quick selection of that. And this is quite a simple one. Go back to our little orange friend. Back to our red friend. And finally to our purple again. And that's, again, very nice. Now, what I've done here with the flat sideways lining, I wouldn't say you should do that. I think you should definitely curve it up to the sides a little bit, but I'm gonna keep it as it is because I think it still looks fine. And let's go into these little incisions. Now, because this is the top part, you'll probably want to make it start it off with that pure red, because let's be honest, that's what we were doing here. You can probably make it a bit of a orange on the edges, on the very edges of it. Probably not very visible, but there you go. And then since it's on top, you'll probably want it a bit darker because, again, the lighting is coming from the floor, right? And what I would usually do for this kind of situation is keep this over to the middle of it, right? But keep it fairly light. And use a little bit of yellow to brighten things up around the sides, because the light travels around the edges a little bit whenever you have it. And you can always correct it a little bit down the middle, like that. And I would say this is a pretty decent look for it, right? And then this one, I would probably put, since it's coming from the floor again, I would definitely put the lighter bits on the right and left side of it, while keeping the middle a bit more red, the color that we want it. So let's start with yellow again. It's never really gonna be that bright, but I guess we might as well make it like this. Put our red down the middle. A good bit of tool that you could also use, which I'm not using, but it's something that you could definitely use, is the multiply tool. That is also a very good tool, because what that does is, if I'm understanding it correctly, it basically makes the thing you're putting on, like the color you're putting on, a little bit kind of darker each time, right? Which I see that it could be used pretty well for a bit of shading, because it also goes into different colors just a little bit. I'm gonna add just a little bit of purple there. I don't think it's necessary, but that's kind of what we probably want. Though right now it looks a little odd, doesn't it? So why not add a little bit more yellow to darken things up, make it a little more orange, because in the end we probably want to match it up to what's on the side of it, right? We don't want to make it any lighter than that. Yeah, so that's kind of what we want. And you don't want this middle part to be like a racing stripe. You want to make it more rounded, like the shape of it, right? So I think that looks okay. Again, I'm not a professional, but it is what it is. I just know the basics of how to do these things. So yeah, let's add a little bit of base yellow again for this area. I think we can make it dark, because the edges here are not exactly bright either. Now for this one, what we'll be doing is this inner bit is going to be quite a bit darker than the outer bits, right? Because it's more inside. So that's actually gonna go into that purple phase, while the outer bits will become more bright. And then if we move on to our last bit of that shape, you can now see that it's very similar to the other one. Oh, it's quite late. It's actually 1:57. So we'll probably want to darken it around the edges anyways. And for this one, it's going to be the same as this previous one. However, the main difference we're going to have is that it's going to spread out into the top bit here, which is going to be quite dark. Because, again, our light is from the bottom. So, having that be the case, this top part will be quite dark and spreading out into that lighter orange. And there we are. I think that's a pretty decent sunset looking piece of art. Compared to that square in the middle, I think it looks okay. And just to also help you see the shape of it, you might want to do something like this, where I don't think I did the thing. There we are. Where you just segment it so you know like the shape of it, right? Yeah, so that's that. And you see, because right now I've actually got this wrong here. Oops, yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. Let's see, so we have this part. There we go. And that should go into being perfectly aligned with that. And since we've made that bottom bit a little bit bigger, this makes sense to be the case, where the back part is a bit larger than the front part. And same here. This side here will probably be a little larger than the other one. See, but there's a little something wrong with my thing, because you should be able to line it up almost like this one here, but I'm having trouble doing that. So that could mean that my shape is a bit off here, which I wouldn't be surprised in, because you know, like I said, I'm not exactly amazing at drawing. I'm just half decent. But that's what you got there. You can kind of do the same with these, where I should be putting these on different layers, but you'll see that these shapes co-align with the whole thing, right? And it all, in the end, makes the cylindrical shape. And there we go. And because we have that shading there, you can clearly see where all of our things are. And by having done what I did here, you can kind of see where I was a little off there, right? But that's not a problem. This is all still learning, right? So it's fine. So yeah, let's go on to a new shape. Just after we do something very, very important. This is something you can never skip when you're drawing. You see, because when you're drawing, you have to have a healthy mind. So, what you do is draw a happy face. You draw a happier face just to make you feel better. And see, these shapes, they all look so sad, right? Without a face or anything. You gotta make it look happy, you know? You gotta make it happy. So let's add a little bit of face here. I'm gonna actually do this on a different layer. Let's add a bit of a face. Because, let's be honest, this is also helpful for your drawing, even if it's just this. The face is sometimes the most important of your entire drawing. And, well, it is, actually. The face of a character is always it's one of the most important parts of the body, because that's where you recognize who it is. You can have the same body type, and you'll see a lot of animes, they have all the same body type, but with minor differences, right? And you'll probably notice them, but sometimes you might not, when they're not side to side. And the face, that's what defines it, right? The face and the hair, that's what defines the character. And that's why it's important to keep the faces perfect. Though, let's not make it too perfect, shall we? A face is never perfect. That's one thing as well. Because the face has little minor things that they just they stick out if you make it too perfect, right? And there you go. There we go. Little faces. I think this sun is a bit unhappy, you know. He's had a rough day. He's had a real rough day. Okay, let's not have this. In the cylinder here. It's yeah, just really happy. Look at him laughing. He's laughing so hard he's gone opened up to me. There you go. He's so happy. This little buddy here, you know, his brain is a bit just kind of tiny there, so that's why he's kind of unhappy. Well, there you go. Nice little faces. Hey, we're still doing the faces. And sometimes you might want to use a little white for your faces. Very unhappy. A little bit of that. There you go. Always add a little face here and there. Use a little bit of imagination. Now let's move on to one last shape. Why not? Yeah, let's see, what can we do? I don't know, man. Let's try a kind of like a spear of sorts. Spearhead, what you would have. Just a pyramid. It's just a pyramid. But let's make this pyramid not just a pyramid. Because the shape of it will be facing kind of towards us. Go, and then what you'll see is the fact that we can actually just, why not make an incision right there, right? Let's make it a little straighter with some good lining, and you'll see that this shape, it would have to be a little inwards like that, and we could even make it so it's not even, you know, it doesn't go all the way down there, but we're just gonna make it now. It's just gonna be, you know what, this one, it's literally just gonna be going up into it, and we don't see anything more. We just don't have the right angle. Dang, you know, we can't see into this pyramid full of loot, I assume. But once we add the appropriate lines, which I've actually been doing this on the wrong layer. That's another thing when you're drawing. Don't be on the wrong layer. like I do every single time I'm drawing. Okay. And as we're doing these lines, you can see that we have this match up nicely here, because it would have to be parallel to our baseline. And that's why we're doing these lines, because it's good to keep track of what you're doing. And this would be very squished up. Oh my god, my hand is hurting a little bit. And then here you'll see that this kind of just goes inwards. And nice. There you go. Oops. There you go, and in the spirit of pyramid, of course, we're gonna make this yellow. Because clearly that's the color of the pyramid. Yellow, not orange, of course. And you know what, for this one, I'm gonna use the lower layer, and what I'm gonna do is, since the light is still down here, light is still coming down from here, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna color this in such a way that it's gonna be easy, it's gonna look good, of course. What else did you expect? Of course it's gonna look good. Okay, there we go. A little bit of shade. Then we go into our orange right there. Very nice orange. And see how I'm always keeping to the direction of the pyramid itself. It always stays true to that line. Never strays off of it, because that's illegal. Yeah. Go back to our little orange here for this one, and then from there on, we actually want to directionally shade this way. Now, of course, this top part will not be orange for long. It'll actually be more red than anything. But I'm gonna keep it like that for now. But this is what we're gonna have for now. And again, direction shading to what we have on the drawing. Okay, and then now it's time to change it to just a little darker, which will be here. It will be the red. You see how that looks a bit darker for you. And if we really want to make it dark, we'll add a little bit of an even darker red. Not going in too large of a step, but since I'm using a brush that can alleviate some of the color, I can just use that like this, and there you go. Like, this is a bit of a more watercolor drawing or paint than what we were doing before. See, that's where it's much different with different sizes of even the brush. It's not even like using a different brush to make a different texture. You can use any brush. It all works the same. But some are just a bit more difficult to use in that way. And for this, because it's like the corridor goes into the pyramid, you can see that you can start it off by making it very dark, because that's a much tighter area down there, and then make it more into a light color on the outside, because that's a larger area to color, which is much easier to blend in the end. So you always, basically with coloring how I do it at least, it's always easier to go from where it's going to be hardest to blend, because it's going to be a very tight squeeze, to go into how do you call it? To go into a much larger open area. Yeah, it's getting late. I should stop streaming soon. But yeah, it's always good to go into the larger area afterwards, so that you already have the base color in there. You don't have to worry about having to meddle with anything in that small gap. But yeah, that's what we have here. And you think we're forgetting anything for this this part here? That looks pretty done, doesn't it? No, of course it's not. We need a face. Now we're gonna put a... Oh, I should use a different layer actually. I'm gonna use... Oh, I used both layers. Nah, it's cool. I'll use this one. Little eye there, and you know what, I'm just gonna leave him like that. He doesn't need a mouth, unless I were to just put it like that. But no. But yeah, that's a little weird looking pyramid there. And there you go. I'm much better at shading than drawing, honestly, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now. Yeah. I hope you guys learned something from this, like I learned from the guy at the art classroom. Yeah, this is just a little practice for if you want to get better at drawing. Though this is only like the very, very basic stuff. If you do this, you'll definitely become a little better. Like just angling like this cylinder we have here. If you start taking it in different angles, angle it differently, you can start to... Well, when you get comfortable with the way you do it, so you can angle it in any direction you want, it'll be very good for, like, if I show you, for example, an arm, what you would have is you have the circle, which is the sphere we have here. We would then attach what would be a cylinder to that, and for another part of it, we would add another cylinder. And out of that one, we would probably just do something like that, right? Probably another ball joint there in between. And from there, you can basically do whatever you want. Do a little hand. Now, can't say I'm good at drawing hands, but it is what it is. 2, 3, and 4. But again, with fingers, like, I'm doing this wrong. You would have a ball joint, another cylinder. This would be the thumb, of course. Another ball joint, and one more cylinder, right? Same as these. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 ball joints. Make it into a cylinder of your desired size. Same with this one here.
Just wish you knew.
This one here. This one right here. And once again, another ball joint, because that's how the finger is. It's actually on a hinge joint, but that's not important because in drawing class, we use spheres for the joints. Now this is a very messy way of doing it. I mean, a very messy drawing of this. But in principle, I'm sure you understand how this works. And you can probably see the 3D-ness of it, right? So it really does help. Like, actually, to be fair, if you've ever seen any of my drawings, which I wouldn't be surprised you probably haven't, but you'll see that a lot of them, they're not very good. When it comes to this kind of like hands, what the hell do I do with hands? How do I draw a hand, right? So having done this, like, I can see the absolute amazing 3D image of this, which normally, no. Normally I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here? So, you know, it works. And yeah, drawing honestly uses a lot of these different shapes. And if you start using this to make the framework for it, you can then go on to building the muscle, however you want to make the muscle. And you'll begin to see that, oh look, it looks great. Like, it's the anatomy of it all is fitting. And so, you know, it's always good to do a bit of that. And then you would see that this is a bit more of a complex shape, but again, you could make this into a bit of a cylinder and add a bit of a curved, what's it called? Square, or cuboid, or whatever you want to call it. Cube. So it all really does come together. And again, later you would have the leg right there. So you would have it like that. And there it goes off the screen, right? So it's quite, you know, quite good. But yeah, that's the basis of all these shapes we did today. This is why it is good to get used to making them. And let me just tell you, you see this? The best I've ever done before doing all this stuff, was something along the lines of that. Probably the best hand you're gonna get. Even that's better than the best I've ever done. That makes me irritated. But yeah, it used to always irritate me that I could not ever draw hands. And seeing this whole thing, the structure of the body, put in this very, very simplified form, it just makes it so much better. It makes it so much easier. You can see what you're doing. So yeah, it's always good to do that. And surprisingly enough, although I had a little debate in my head while I was drawing that hand, I actually managed to put the hand on the right side. Wait, let me check. Yeah, that's the right side. But yeah, hopefully soon enough I'll get into drawing a bit more of what you see being my my background there. When I get a little better at drawing using these various techniques, I'll definitely go back into drawing that background and getting much better at it. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I hope you learned something. You can even put a ball joint there, which actually you would have a ball joint next, that's your shoulder. But as you can see here, this is the basis of what we're doing. And I hope this little session we had would help you get better, because I think it's I think it's good to do these. But yeah, as I said, you can go into more complex shapes, make a square, a cube on top of a cube of sorts, right? And then give it a different angle to it, so that you'll then later see that, oh look, this was actually off of this, it wasn't even on it to begin with, it's actually floating here. So you can also work on perspective later. But yeah, again, hopefully you learned something today. I will be ending the stream here because I think 2 hours a day, or 2 hours of drawing at once, is probably a good amount to do. I'd say about an hour to 2 hours is probably the right amount to do in one session. This is completely uneducated, it's just a guess, but I from what I've heard many professionals say, about 1 hour to 2 hours is probably the best to do in a session. Not to prolong it too much, because you might get, you'll probably get a little tired. You'll start drawing it worse, and in the end, the drawing might come out worse. Or you'll have to go back to change these things a little bit, because you were just tired and you were just like, no, I can't be arsed, I'll just leave it like that, we'll maybe change it later, good enough, whatever. Those kind of thoughts come to mind afterwards. So yeah, just make sure not overdo it with hours of drawing in a day, and don't burn yourself out, of course. But anyways, this was a bit of a learning stream, I suppose. A bit of a lesson almost. So yeah, I hope to see you guys again next time. I'll see you when I stream again. I'm usually quite busy, so probably only gonna be doing 1 or 2 streams a week, but we'll see what happens. I'll definitely be streaming next Saturday again. In between there, I'll have to really see, because yeah, a lot of hours for work. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and have a good